Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another Northbasics video on this channel. Today we're talking about lore in Northgard, or if you happen to play a kingdom, also faith. What do we need it for? How can we produce it? And is it even important or not? These and more questions will be answered in this video, so let's get right into it. At first, let's talk about lore in general. It is not an essential resource like wood, food or gold, since you do not consume any of it and there's no inherent need to get it. It is also absolutely possible to win games without ever producing or picking a lore. In fact, I even did that when I started playing Northgard, seeing lore as a non-essential and rather put all of my resources into getting more gold as fast as possible for rush strategies. Lore was more of an eco strategy resource for me, what it definitely is too. But also aggro clans will actually benefit from their lore bonuses, and some of them are so strong that the whole clan strategy will circle around that one lore bonus. So even if your villagers won't start getting sick and your buildings don't start burning when you are not going for any lore, you will fall behind other players if you're not going for it. What makes lore a lot more essential to all clan strategies than it might seem on the first glance. Lores can improve your production, make your army stronger or cheaper, provide you with happiness, or give you other, more unique bonuses to improve your clan's capabilities. So picking lores that improve weaknesses your clan might have in the correct time can make the difference between a mediocre and a great start, late game or army. To gain lores, you will need to reach certain thresholds, which will, as soon as you pick a lore, deduct the amount of the threshold from your lore count and set a slightly higher one for the next lore. So a little clearer, for the first lore you will need to produce at least 80 lore. For the second one 100, for the third one 130 and so on. The numbers you see right now go up to your 15th lore, which should also be the last relevant one in most of your games. At your 6th, 9th, 12th and 15th lore you will be able to pick a blessing for your clan, which will be the same for all Viking clans. The kingdom's blessing will be different, but they are also the same for all kingdoms. For the Vikings, you can either get Freya's Blessing, which will reduce the loss of food production in winter by 50% and reduce the firewood consumption by 15%. Baldur's Blessing, which will give you +3 happiness permanently, or Yurt's Blessing, which will give you 15 stone and 10 iron. For the kingdoms, it would be one of the 3 different vows you can go for. The Vow of Chastity, which will reduce all units' food consumption by 20%. The Vow of Obedience, which will increase the livability in all of your zones by 1. Or the Vow of Poverty, which will give you 10 stone, 10 iron and 100 gold. You can also go for the Ancestral Knowledge or Divine Right of King's Blessing, which will enable you to go for the lore of Faith Victory, and I will not explain too deeply here, because it would overload the video a little, and I would rather do a video about the victory conditions in Northgard where I will talk in greater detail about it. Now let's talk about how you can produce lore, and I got to say that I underestimated how many different ways there are now to produce lore. I actually found 16 different ways of producing lore in Northgard, given that a lot of them are only accessible for specific clans and I probably oversaw a few things. That's why we're going to take a look at the base production of these ways to produce lore, so we can get an idea how strong they are compared to each other. The easiest way to produce lore is available to every clan, and it's basically by just having a population. At the start of the game, each of your villagers will produce 0.25 lore for you. That will go up to the 10th villager, and your 11th villager will only give you around 0.1 lore. From this point on, the number will now get lower and lower, and your population lore will get less and less useful for you. So at some point you should find an active way to actually produce lore. So let's see which ways they are and how strong they are compared to each other. The first and most logical way is of course the Lore Master, which is available for all Viking clans and even the Stoat Kingdom. They will produce +3 lore for you. The kingdom's monks will also produce +3 lore for you. So they are basically Lore Masters that can also heal. Sailors for the Viking clans will have a base production of +0.8 lore, which isn't a lot but can certainly make a difference. Now let's look at the more clan specific ways to produce lore. The first one of which would be the Norns of the Owl clan, which will produce +3 lore at lore stones just as a lore master would. The Raven scouts and sailors that are currently scouting will produce +2 lore for you. Will they be affected by the ranger's lore and get a 50% bonus? Yes, it's huge. Menders of the Boar clan will produce 1.5 lore for you when they are not currently healing. The war chiefs of the horse clan will each produce +2 lore for you while mining when you got the excavation lore, which you should get as fast as possible. The knowledge of beyond lore for Kraken will let each of your merchants produce +2 lore while trading with neutral factions. On the Lynx clan, Miliki will produce +3 lore for you if you go for the Wise One bonus. On the Red clan, you will get +0.5 lore for each shaman camp you have while the Purification Pyre is active after you killed neutrals or lost villages. And the Fish Soup of the Squirrel clan can give a +4, +7 or +10 lore bonus depending on the level of the meal, and will also give a roughly 50% of that bonus over to its teammates if it was a shared meal. A few honorable mentions would be the Scorched Earth for the Snake clan, the Boar Skin of the Hound clan, the Warcraft lore of the Ox clan, and the Chanson de Guest lore for the Lion clan, which are all hard to compare to the classic lore production, but are all very legit and strong ways to acquire lore. Another very strong way to acquire lore is to get a good relation with your teammates. After you get over 30 relation with a teammate, you gain lore based off the amount of lores you and your teammate have taken. If you want to know more about how this system works, stay tuned for the Northbasics video about relations in Northgard. There we're gonna talk about how the system works in detail. If you would ask me what I think is the strongest way to produce lore, I would absolutely say the Raven Scouts. Since after the Ranger's lore, your scouts will not consume any food anymore and produce +3 lore just like a lore master. That seems broken to me, and if you ask me, this might be one of the few things in this video which I wouldn't expect being around in the same form in the next year, while you can of course never know. But with this, I want to come to the end of the video here. I hope this video could help you to get a better idea on how the lore system in Northgard works and how the different ways of producing lore compare to each other. If you enjoyed this Northbasics, please leave a like if you want to see more content like this on the channel, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye bye!